All right, this is the third video of trying to get this big Toro recycler mower running. We put a new blade on it because he had hit something so bad that he had bent the blade. And as I suspected, when you hit it that hard, you also shear the flywheel key. So let's take a look at that. That's what a sheared flywheel key looks like. It's essentially been split in half. It may come out in one piece, but you can see that groove. Let me see here, get something to point with. This groove here has to line up perfectly with that little rectangle. So this rectangle should be over there. See how that's in line? It's over here. And so the spark is not going to arrive at the correct time. So I've sprayed some JB Blaster. That's kind of soaking in there. And then I'm going to get out the big hammer and I'm going to get that flywheel off of there and replace the flywheel key so the spark does arrive at the correct time. Since our last visit, I have replaced the thermostat and the arm. You see they're not binding anymore. This is the old one that came off, and this is the problem. It's locked. It doesn't spring at all. And instead of trying to figure out what's going on wrong with it, I reached into my handy container of thermostat self-priming arms and put one on there. And this is what it looks like. Watch this, see? See, it springs back. It's not locked up at all. And this is now in the correct position. This front bar right there, you can get something to point with again. I'll point with the end of my magnetic stick here. Ugh. This front piece right there is supposed to be between those two indentations. So I've bent it and shaped it until it is. So it's now dead center between that little indentation and that little indentation. And also the front edge from side to side needs to be between that indentation and that indentation. And so it's dead center there and it's dead center there. So this is in the correct position. And see, now this moves loosey-goosey like it's supposed to. So you crank the mower up with the choke on, because the choke's on right now. It gets hot and starts to move this over and takes the choke off. It opens that plate, and you get the right kind of fuel mixture in there. You're not getting choked fuel. So that's all good. But there are other problems with this mower. Like I said, we're gonna have to take off that flywheel and get that key out of there. There's weird things going on over here. Like I said, it looks like somebody's put a brand new plate on here, but it's the wrong kind. It's a kind with a primer, and this carburetor doesn't take a primer. So this is a waste. I'm going to save this plate and use it on a quantum engine that requires a primer. This is not lined up. You see how the filter is bulging outside of this cover. So that's all got to come off. So let's start with that and see what's going on. Maybe there's more issues with that carburetor, but like I said, it looks brand new. Hopefully they installed it right. So there we go with that. Of course, my hands are filthy now. Hang on. All right, so let's start disassembling things, because I definitely got to get the coil off in order to get the flywheel off. So let's take this plate off first, 5/16. Oh yes, that's brand new. It is absolutely brand new. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? So this little plate right here is brand new, but it's wrong. That's the wrong plate for a self-priming quantum Briggs & Stratton. So this is going to come off. There. One screw. These are the two important things that go into the carburetor. Very pretty, brand new air filter base. Oh, come off that. I don't usually see him that good. He does have a gasket on there, so that's nice. But this primer is being wasted because it's never going to work because there's no place for the air to go out into this type of carburetor, so it's a waste. So I'm going to set this aside and use it on another one someday, and I'll show you what this is, what a base looks like that goes with this type carburetor. There is no primer, see? You see the difference? There's no primer because it's not needed on this self-priming carburetor. So let me hit this with a brush a few times because it's kind of nasty. And let's see, is there a gasket on there? No, I don't think there is a gasket. Yeah, there's not a gasket on this plate. Look at this gasket. I'm gonna let that dry out. It's moist. That is a brand new carburetor, man, oh man. Very pretty. Not leaking, so that's good. But I've got to take this off in order to get to the coil and take this flywheel off. So let's go ahead and do that. This is going to be a 1/4 inch to take this automatic primer linkage off. And I'm taking to take special care not to lose that little baby spring right there. They're very valuable. These mowers will not work without them. So I'm going to move this arm, got the screw out. You see the little spring's already pulling it that way, but I'm going to catch it and pull it off of there. And hopefully it doesn't go flying. I got that end off. Got that end off. And here is the wonderful spring. Got to have this little thing. Okay? So I'm going to set it over here in the magnetic dish so it doesn't get lost. Set it with the screw that holds this arm on. Set that over there. And now the coil has to come off. Same thing, 1/4 inch socket. Okay, now the coil will come off. The kill wire is attached, so what I'll do is just pull it off, and I'm going to set it over here so it is not interfering or pulling on anything that caused trouble, like this thermostatic controlled arm right there. So let me set this a little further away. Okay, it's not touching the thermostatic controlled arm. I'm going to put this screw back in here so I don't lose it. And the same with the other one. I'll turn these in a few times. Okay. Okay, now here's the fun part. Get this flywheel off. I need to get the engine brake off because it's impeding the free movement of this, and I need to move this wheel and have it turn and come up. So let me put the clamp on this brake up here. Where's my clamps? There's one. Ugh. Okay. So the brake is off now, and the flywheel turns. Now to get this off, I've got to get a lever under here. I need a fulcrum right in here, and I use a steel plate for that. Here's the steel plate. The reason this is important is because there's not very many places you can come in and not break something with your lever. But if I put this plate here, I'm protecting this plastic manifold as I put in the big screwdriver right here. And then I can push down and get leverage on that, and it is not, see, it's not touching the manifold. Now, I gotta prepare this thing for impact, and I do that by reinstalling the flywheel nut. And I'm gonna put it on there 3 or 4 good turns. Just so if I miss with the hammer, I don't smash the threads, okay? And now I find the copper slugs, or a couple old pre-1982 copper pennies, and I stack them right there on top of that. And then I'm going to hit this with a heavy hammer and get my air protection on. This tank a little bit better out of the way. That's probably good enough. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to rotate it like a quarter turn or so. Put my little copper slugs back on there. Don't want to hit them without this thing without that being there. Get my lever. And I'm pushing up on the bottom of that wheel. Right in there. I think it's touching that manifold. I sure don't want it to touch. That's a little too close for comfort. That might work right there. Let's try that. I'm messing with my thermostat arm over here. I want that to happen. There we go. Look at that. Okay, here we go. Rotate. saw that or not, but that did it. Getting the copper pennies out of the way. I don't think I've damaged the manifold, so that's good. Let's see if we can get this flywheel up and off of here. Okay, so I'll show you the damaged flywheel key. There it is. This is, see how it's all misshapen? It should be a perfect little rectangle. Instead it's Z-shaped because it's almost been sheared in half. So that's unusable trash. Let me get a new one I can put in. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to say goodbye until you can tune back in. And we're going to continue with this great Toro recycler.